Shiur in Gemara, Maseches Bava Mציעא, Perek השוכר Umnim, Daf Pei Omud Aleph and Omud Beis. This is the second part of the Shiur that we gave on the second Mishnah of that page. So let's give a little bit of introduction, bring us up to the point where we all do. Okay? Last time we spoke about the halacha in the Mishnah that if somebody was supposed to bring a lesech of chitim, which is the most amount that the donkey can carry on his back, okay, and instead he brought a lesech of soy, which is three kabin less. Okay. Now, the question is, if he's going to bring only 3 kabin, adding the small box, if he's going to add 3 kabin on the be'ema, he's really going to bring the weight of the soyim to the weight of the chitim. He didn't add any weight, but he added space. The question is, if you added space, you're going to be chayav, or you need added space plus weight. So it's a machlokes between Abaye and Rove. Abaye says if you added space, even though you didn't add weight, you're going to be chayav. So therefore, the addition to be chayav is 3 kabin. And Rove says that if you added space is not enough, you need to add weight and space. Therefore, you need to be 6 kabin to the weight of the chamoyer. Then you're going to be chayav. That's the introduction. Now we're going to read in the Gemara. So we're holding. A line begins with the word Tnan. It's about 8 lines from the bottom. And the Gemara is going to challenge one time Rove's opinion, and then the Gemara is going to challenge Abaye's opinion. So let's read from inside. Frag deile ki Gemara. Now, we're learning in our Mishnah. L'ovi lesser chitim ve'evi lesser soirim. He was supposed to bring a lesser chitim, and instead he brought a lesser of soirim. It's possible. Okay? This part is not, doesn't apply to our question. Now, then continues the Gemara. And if he added on the weight of what he was supposed to take, it's going to be chayav. So the Gemara learns out. My lab, obviously, how much did he add? Shloishes kabin. He added 3 kabin like Abaye. So it's a question on Rove, who said 6. Efer de'ele ki Gemara loy se'o. He didn't add 3 kabin, he added se'o. Frag de'ele ki Gemara back. How can you tell me that the amount is se'o? And that itself, it says in our Mishnah, how much is going to add on the weight of the behemoth and to be chayiv. If you added 1 se'or to the weight of the camel, or if you added 3 kabim to the weight of the chamoyer. So we see that the Mishnah clearly says, like Abaye, that the addition to be chayiv is 3 kabim. So how can Rove says 6? Let's see if we have Rashi. Yep. My love shloishes kabin, therefore it's like Abaye. Lo isel. Ve'achi koma. We're going to read this Rashi after we're going to say the Gemara because that fits a little bit better. Back to the Gemara. Frag the Elike Emfer the Elike Gemara. Achi koma. This is what we're going to say in our Mishnah. Now we're going to say it first Baal Peh, and then we're going to say it Bifnim, and then we're going to read the Mishnah according to Rove. According to Rove, the Mishnah has 3 halachas, not 2 halachas. The third halacha comes to specify in a case when he didn't change. He was supposed to bring chitim and he brought chitim. And now he wants to add. So the Mishnah is telling you, if you didn't change and he brought what he was supposed to bring, the addition is going to be 3. That's the magic number. The magic of the shiur of adding is number 3. In a place where you started below the number, below the weight, then the magic number is to first to catch up to the weight, and then 3 on top of it, which is a total of 6. Let's read it inside. After the Elike Gemara, this is what the Mishnah says. In a case when the guy did not change, chitim ve'ege chitim, he was supposed to bring chitim and he did bring chitim, or soirim ve'evi soirim, he was supposed to bring soirim and he didn't change. Now, so he did what he was supposed to do. How much is the addition on his weight, and he's going to be chayiv? Let's read the Rashi. Lo isel, says the Heilige Rashi, v'achi komer, and that's what the Mishnah says. Now here, according to Rove, there's a chiddush in this. According to Abaye, as we learned in the Mishnah before, he didn't change, he didn't do anything, so there's no big chiddush, it's just a fact. But according to Rabbi, he's a big chiddush. Even though he changed, he changed to be lighter. But if he added till the weight of the chitim is chayv. Mishum Tosefes Nefach, because the addition of the volume, the space plus the weight. Ochikoma. The Mishnah tells you different dinim. And that's what it says in the Mishnah, how much is going to add to be chayv. It doesn't go on the case when he was supposed to bring chitim and instead he brought on tzorim. Rather, it goes on the case where he was supposed to bring chitim and he did, and the addition is only 3. So let's read the Mishnah according to Rebbe. Somebody rented a donkey to bring on it the max amount of chitim that he was supposed to bring, which is a lesser. And he said he brought sorim plus he added 6 kabim. That's what Rabbi says. Chayv. Now here is another difference between Abaye and Rabbi. Because space, when is space going to be hard and affecting the behemoth? On top of the weight, first you have to reach the max weight, and then if you add more, you're going to be chayv. Now, second halacha. And even though you changed, you added, but you didn't add a wholesale, because you didn't add as much as the shiur. Now a third halacha. Now if he, in a case when he didn't change, he was supposed to bring chitim and he didn't bring chitim, and so on, he's going to add, if he's going to add, he's going to chayv. Comes the Mishnah and asks, how much is he going to add on and to be chayv? Because he already has the max amount of chitim that he was supposed to bring because he didn't change. Therefore, the addition is only 3. Let's look at the Tosfos, the bottom and the Amud. Tosfos basically explains the Gemara a little bit according to Abaye, and the rest of the Tosfos is according to Rav. Abaye, Sefer the Ktani Kama Yosef. According to Abaye, that's what it says. The words of the Mishnah, Kama Yosef al Masoi, does not come to teach me any new halacha. Rather, Koila Farash Reisha comes to explain the Reisha, because in the Reisha, in the beginning of the Mishnah, it says that he was supposed to bring a lesser chitim and he brought a lesser of sorim, but it does not say how much did he add. So the Mishnah tells me how much did he add. Now, according to Rav, it doesn't make sense. Why can the Mishnah tell me clearly in the Mishnah, Lovi lesser chitim, ve'evi lesser soirim, and he had 3 kabim? Does it say? Why is the Mishnah waiting till the end of the Mishnah to explain the beginning of the Mishnah? So now Tosfos explain Ulav. And according to Rebbe, Reish, the Ktani Lav Chitim Ve'Velo Soirim, and the Reish that it says that he was supposed to bring Chitim and instead he brought Soirim, I knew because he had a Chitim. He had the weight of the Chitim Shuso, he had a wholesale, Kedemuchach B'Shmaitim, as we see clearly in our Gemara. Then he's going to be Chayv. Why? The Nifre Avetoi surface, because space is an addition to the weight. So space plus weight will affect the behemoth. Second halacha. Lo v'lesach chitim ve'vi lesach soirim. Potu is going to be potu. Why? Afilu oisiv gimel kabel lechamoyer. Even though he had a 3 kabel to chamoyer, he's still going to be potu. Why? The leketiklo kitiklo, because it didn't reach the weight yet. So since it didn't reach the weight, it will not affect the behemoth. Now, third halacha. Ve'echad eloishan, in a case when he didn't change, elohevi min sheitno, he brought what he was supposed to bring. So then, Kama Yosef al Masavei Chayv, so Lagom al Shloisha Kabim Lachamoyer. That's the first question on the Gemara, and that's the way the Gemara explains according to Rabbi. Now we're going to go a second question, and this question is going to be on Abaye. Abaye, the number to add is 3. So the Gemara is going to prove it from a brayso that it's 6. Toshma, we learn in a brayso. He was supposed to bring a lesser chitim. A lesser chitim, as we said already before, is 15 se'ah. And instead he brought 16 se'ah of soirim. So how much did he add? A whole se'ah, 6 kabim. Chayv. So we see from here, bad shloishes kabim. If he only added 3 kabim, he's going to be potur. So it's a kasha Abaye. Rashi. 16 says Rashi toisefes seor, an addition of seor, la'ashvoisom lemasa yechidim, to equal them to the weight of the chidim. Chayev bishvil hanefach, because it's chayev because he added the space. Or shloishes kabim, says Rashi, kederov, potter kederov, like Rove says. And for the Elki Gemara, back to the Gemara, Tirgima Abaye, Abaye translated and explained the case in the Braise, b'mechikton, in an erased what? An erased measurement. So Rashi brings two pirushim, and we're going to learn the first pirush in the Rashi, and then we're going to learn what Tosfos has to say about it, and then we're going to learn the second pirush in the Rashi, and then we're going to finish the Gemara. Okay. The first pirush in the Rashi is that worms went into the Sa'orim, went into the barley. Now worms, when they go into the barley, they're only affecting the inside and not the outside. So on the outside, it's the same space. So therefore, but because the barley was eaten by the worms, now the barley weighs even less. So Abaye says, when do we say that if you have 3 kabim, you're going to be chayev? Only when the measurement in percentage, the difference between the weight of the chidim and the soirim is the regular weight difference. But now that the soirim are lighter, because they were eaten, some of the soirim are eaten by the worms, therefore the soirim is even less. So in order to reach to the weight of the chitim, you have to do a little bit more. That's why the addition is 6 kabim, not 3 kabim. Let's read it from inside. B'mechikto says Rashi, Ani shomati, I heard. What does that mean? B'mechikto, erased. Ani shomati soirim sheitliu, the soirim got warm inside, and therefore it weighs less. So therefore, in order to reach, if the chitim are 90 kabim, and let's say it weighs, what did we say? 360 pounds, and the soirim weigh 348 pounds. So the difference is 12 pounds different. But if now the soirim are even less, they are 348 minus 12, so it's even less. So if he's going to add only 3 kabim, he didn't even reach to the weight of the soirim. Not only he didn't reach to the weight of the chitim, he didn't even reach to the weight of the soirim. So therefore he gets 6 kabim an amount. But Rashi does not like this pirush. Aval didi kashili. Rashi says, I have a question. Mali itliu, mali lo itliu. What's the difference if the worms are inside the soirim or not? Ve'arei yesh kan nefach shel lesech. This still has a nefach. Space is a space. It takes the full amount. And we say, shenefach v'shloishes kabim. We have a space of a nefach, of a lesech and 3 kabim. V'ktani potur. And then the Braise says potur. U'le'abaye nefach kemasui. According to Abaye, space is just like weight. So if space affects the behemoth just like weight, what do I care if it's even way less? The space is there. So therefore the behemoth will get hurt, because the behemoth feels that the space, I'm already reaching to the max amount of space that I can carry. The olavitliu, even if it's not warm, nami also soirim kalimen. Soirim are lighter than chitim. Umechayev lu Abaye mishum nifro. And Abaye says you chayev because there's the extra space. So Abaye didn't care that the soirim are lighter. Abaye just looked at the space. He didn't care for the weight. So if you don't care for the weight, so what do I care? It's even now it's way even less. Now let's read the Tosfos before we go to the second pirush of Rashi. Tirgim Abaye b'mechikto. So Tosfos says what Rashi says, it does not make sense. Rashi, what Rashi asked, according to the answer of the Goinim, Nire looks the lav pirche. It's not a question. Why? Let's say if he made a condition to carry a lesech of metal or a lesech of stones, and instead he took straw or feathers, so you're going to tell me that if he added only 3 kabim high because the space is space, there's no weight there. He's carrying feathers. So obviously you have to say that in percentage has to be as close as possible to the weight of the chitim. So when the weight of the chitim is even less, the weight of the soirim is even less, because the soirim made an empty space inside of the barley. They ate some of the barley. Therefore, I'm supposed to allow even more. That's what Tosfos says. But now we're going to go to what Rashi is explaining. So we're going to make, I showed my class a different experiment. Now, I promise you that's not as much as the donkey can carry. The donkey can carry much more. But Rashi is telling us there's 3 types of measurements. Okay? So, there is 3 types of measurements. One called measurements of mechuko, erased measurements. One called tefufo, a little bit overflow. And one called gedusho, a lot overflow. The reason that it's called mechuko, because when we measure, we take something like this, and we erase whatever doesn't belong there. So that's called bemechikto. So now, usual, a donkey can carry a lesach of chitim, tefufo, a little bit overflow. Now, one more introduction. The difference between each measurement is 3 kabim. So usually a donkey can carry a lesach of chitim of the tefufo. Okay? Now, when he brought, so if you add 3 kabim, then you're going to be chayiv. If you add 3 kabim to this, you're going to be chayiv, even though it's a little bit, the soirim are a little bit lighter, you're still going to be chayiv because the nefach, the space, is already affecting the bein. But let's say if the guy bought this measurement, so not only that, he brought se'oirim, which is lighter than chitim, plus he uses the mechikto measurement, which is already even less, 3 kabim even less. So if he's going to add 3 kabim to the mechikta, to the erase measurement, so what did he do? All he did, he brought back to the level of the se'oirim weight. He didn't even go to reach to the level of the chitim's weight. So that's why we allowed to bring in 3 more kabim, so 3 kabim to come to the level of the chitim, and 3 more kabim so the space will affect the behemoth, and that's why it's chayiv. Now let's read it inside. Rashi, venirali, it looks to me, says Rashi, shemasa chamoir, the weight that the donkey can carry, lesech, 1 lesech, umedidosam tefufos, and the measurement is a little bit overflow. How many? How much? Tzvav seid. Veloy mechukos, and not the erase. Umukil Abaye, and Abaye makes up the brayse that it talks about, but the zayin mechukos, 16 se'ah of erased measurement, shamachak, the erased measurement, poch is gimel kabim, is gimel kabim less than the tefufa kabim. Therefore, so if you just go but by 16 se'ah of mechukos of erased measurements, therefore ve'enkan elo tesefer nefach shloisha kabim shel lesech tefufos. All you did is you reach to the level of the tefufa measurement, plus you're only dealing with valleys, so you're already even less. So therefore, the amount, the addition that you're allowed to add will be 6 kabim, even according to Abaye, not according to Rieber. Now Rashi explains, the fufais, what's the fufais? Loy machuk veloy godush. It's not a erase measurement, and it's not a lot overflow. Next Rashi, mechukos rishash. It's in Old French. Back to the Gemara. Now the Gemara is going to bring a brayse which discuss different measurements to different things. That if you add, you have to add, you're going to be chayiv. Now remember, in the first year we explained that the addition to hurt anything that will break, the addition is 1 kav to 30 kabim. So if, let's say for example, if a chamor can carry 90 kabim, so for every 30 kabim, we add 1 to be chayiv. So that's why the donkey, if you have 3, you're going to be chayiv. Now let's read the Gemara. Tono Rabbono we learned in the Brayse. Kav lekotif. If you added 1 kav to what a person can carry on his shoulder, he's going to get hurt. So whoever did the adding of the kav is going to be chayiv. Adriv, if you have 1 lesech la'arevo, to a small boat, and something happened to the small boat, then you're going to be chayiv. Kur, if you had a whole kur lesfino to a regular size boat, and something happened, you're going to be chayiv. Shloishes kabim leburning doilo. If you had 3 kabim, to a big boat, and so on. It's all in percentage. Shloisha kabim. Thank you. Shloisha kurim. I said kabim. Thank you. So we'll read it again. Shloishes kurim leburning doilo. If you had 3 kurim to a big boat, you're going to be chav. Now, let's see the Rashi. Kav lekotev. Kav avetoisefes leodom anoise bekotev. If you add a kav, is an addition to a person who carries something on his shoulders. V'chayev amoisif. And the guy who adds the extra kav, bekilkulo if the person got hurt. Mikanat alomed. From here you're learning shemasa odom beinoni. How much can an average person carry? Shloishim kav, 330 kav. Shem chomeshim, which is 5 cell. How do we know that? The nan, we're learning now Mishnah Tosefes Achamoyer, the addition that if you had the donkey to get hurt, the shloishes kavim, shem chatzi sa'ah, 3 kavim, which is a half a sa'ah. Umasoi, and we already also learned that how much can I carry, how much can a donkey carry? Lesser, that's what I'm saying. Almes, so we see Tosefes Echod Mishloishim B'masu. The addition is 1 out of 30. He could have even said 3 out of 90, but we always use the smallest number. Vashmeinen, the moisifol of kav. So the Gemara, the Bryce let us know that if you had a kav, you're going to be chav. And Rashi clarifies. The Kamon Porich, the Gemara later on is going to ask. Ve'areyu bendas, a human being has seichel, as seichel. If you see that he cannot carry the addition kav, lish de'are, you should have thrown it on the floor. So if he got hurt, that's his fault. Adriv la Rebbe says Rashi, lesech havetoisefes lemasu isfina ktana. Lesech is an addition to the weight of a small boat. Kur, says Rashi, havetoisefes lesfina beinanis. Back to the Gemara. Omar Mar. The key word of Omar Mar is when we're going to discuss something that we learned before in the Bryce. Omar Mar, we learned before in the Bryce, a kav lekotev, if you add 1 kav to the what an average person can carry and it got hurt, you're going to be chayiv. If he sees that he's not able to carry it, you should throw it on the floor. So why are we responsible to pay for his damages? So the Gemara is going to answer three answers. Omar Abaye b'shechov toy la'alter. He got banged right away before he was able to. As soon as the guy added the kav on his shoulder, the guy got zetz or banged right away and he fell down on the floor and got hurt. So therefore he was not able to say boo and he got hurt and that's why he's chayav. Second teretz, Rabbi Omar, afilu teime b'sheloi chavot elanti. You can even say we're talking about a strong person who can carry more. And so he didn't bang them right away. Lo yitzricho elo. We only need a case in the Bryce. La'agro yesero. Now the guy is going to demand extra money. I'm carrying an extra kav. Average normal people can carry 30 kav, and I can carry 31 kav. Therefore, pay me for the extra kav. And usually the payment is usually double. A third teretz, Rav Ashi Omar, the reason that he didn't throw the extra kav that was put on his shoulder was he didn't realize that somebody put an extra kav. So all of a sudden he feels weakness. So he thought, maybe I didn't eat breakfast, so I'm not feeling well. So he's pushing himself an extra to carry it, and then he got banged and he fell down. We have Rashi. He was not able, he did not have the ability, the opportunity to take off the weight, the pekelach from his shoulders, till he fell under his weight. Back to the Gemara. Kur lesfino, we learned in a Bryce that if you add a kur to an average size boat, you're chayev, shloshes kubim leburning doilo. If you add 3 kurim to a big boat, you're going to be chayev. Omar Rapop is going to teach us something. Shma mino, from this Bryce we're learning out. Stam sfinois, an average size boat, we have a revo, we have a sfino, and we have a burning doilo. So what's the average size boat? Bas klosim kurim, can carry 30 kurim. Frag the Gemara, the mind of Kamina. Who cares? Why do you have to tell me that information? And for the Eliki Gemara, lemekach umemkach, to buy and sell. What does that mean? If I sold you a boat, or I thought I'm selling you an average size boat, and then later on I'm looking at the boat and I'm trying to fit in at 30 kurim and it doesn't fit, so it's a mekach tos. I can go back to the seller and tell him, hey, give me back my money. That's not a regular size boat. Rashi, bas klosim kurim. צריכו שתי גדולו, she needs to be that big, ותהי בכך הוא ילך אצל המים. With that, she will be able to go on the water. How do we know that? The Tosefech as milamedu, the addition is 1/30th, so midiktani kula sfino. And from that it says that if you add a coat to a boat, you're going to be chayv. Shema mino, obviously, remember like we said before, 1/30th is the addition. Kol basfino bashloshim. So as a regular boat can carry 30 kol. Ochiga, sinon omar apope, Rashi brings a girsa, Shema mino sam sfino v'chulu l'mayin afkemino l'mekach u'menkar. Obviously, it was a different girsa in the Gemara, so Rashi has to clarify the proper girsa. Now we're going to see one more Tosfos, an interesting Tosfos. Second Tosfos on the page. We are now holding the pay on the base. Stam sfino b'klosim kul. Mashma, it's understood that Tosefes, the addition to Bichayev, is echad mishloishim, is 1/30. Vim ken. And if so, midatanis seol agomel. From that, and it says in the Mishnah that if you add a seol to a camel, mashma demas a gomel is cool. Obviously, whatever the amount that a camel can carry is 1 kul. Okay, because if you add a seol, which is 6 kavi, so that's exactly the measurement. V'kosher leRivom. Rivom is a question. Rabbeinu Yitzchok ben Meir. The בפרק משיחשיך, in the פרק משיחשיך in Gemara Shabbos, Omar Rabbi Midifti. Rabbi Midifti from a place called Difti says to us, Ledidi chazi le'autayo. Rabbi saw a weird scenery. What did he see? He says, I saw an Arab person, the oichla kur, that he fed his camel 1 kur, he stuffed. Ve'aten kur. He fed his camel 1 kur. That means the camel ate a whole kur inside of his stomach. Ve'aten kuro, and he put on top of the camel, he put a kur. So when Rabbi Yirmiyah says that it was weird, mashma, obviously, the shargim oli mentanim kolkach. Obviously, other camels are not weird. Meaning, we understand that the weird part is 2 parts. That he's able to carry a kur. That the camel, the Rabbi Yirmiyah was able to carry so much. Obviously, the regular camels cannot carry so much. So why are you telling me here that a regular camel can carry a whole kur? Only that camel was weird, that he was able to carry a kur. As Rashi explained there, not that he stuffed the camel a whole kur. He put on the camel food for the way, and he put the load another kur. That means that the camel carried 2 kur. Not that he ate. Again, not that he stuffed the camel to eat. He loaded on the camel the regular weight, which is what the camel can carry. Plus, he put on the camel the amount of food that the camel can carry. So now the camel is carrying 2 kur, which is very good. Let's read again. He put 1 kur for the food of the way, levad besides what she was carrying, which was a kur. And Tosfos adds that looks that's the main shot. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that somebody can feed a gomel, even with stuffing, as much as a camel can eat in one time. I just want to clarify one thing. Why, I don't know if I said it in the shir, why is Rashi called kuntras? So Rashi, he traveled around before he became very, very famous. He traveled around from city to city, and when in those days he comes to a city, he goes to the Beis Medrash, and the Rav of the city used to give a shir. And many times the Rav of the Beis Medrash, the Rav of the city got stuck, and he was not able to explain the pshat. Rashi waited till everybody leave, and then he took a whole bunch of papers and he wrote the whole Gemara with his pshat. And he left the town. And in the morning, the Rav comes to his shir, and he sees on the table, he sees a bunch of kuntresim booklets in the pirush, the right pirush. So they didn't know what to call that person. They didn't know his name. So they call him the Baal HaKuntras. Till Rashi, then they put together. When Rashi became famous, they put together that the guy who wrote the kuntresim, he is Rashi himself. Thank you so much.